Hi, and welcome to another educational video. On this video, I'm going to be focused on italic calligraphy. I'm gonna use walnut ink. I'm gonna use a broad nib of 3 millimeters width. If you don't have materials, you can follow the description on this video and you will obtain a free PDF file with two things. The first one are recommendations about materials that I use for different calligraphy styles. And the second one, so within the same free PDF, a set of blank calligraphy guidelines from different styles of calligraphy that I teach. In this case, today I'm using a Brause, which is a German broad nib, as you can see here, and it has a reservoir at the top. Is Brause 3 millimeters. Alternatively, you can totally use a Pilot Parallel pen with the same width that they released recently, so you can also use this tool. Okay, now what you see on this page is what I called blank calligraphy guidelines, and basically this is a grid that is going to help me a lot to follow my writing. So we have a lot of things in here, so I'm going to explain briefly what is each section. Okay, so this alphabet has a scale of 5 widths of my own pen, and you see that I position the pen next to these squares and it belongs to these same measurements. If you had a much bigger pen or much smaller pen, you build your own guidelines based on the width of your own pen at 90 degrees, as I'm showing in here. Now, we have ascenders and descenders, which are the spaces for tall and long letter forms. And then we have an additional line in here, which belongs to the cap height. So the height and the length of capital letters in the italic alphabet. This is 100% contextual. So I'm only referring to this as for the italic calligraphy. Then we have these diagonal lines, that these belong to the slant or slope of the writing. And a slant or slope means the angle of our letter forms, the angle that they are going to have the letter forms while writing. If you have never done italic calligraphy before, I very much recommend you go to my playlist, Intro to Italic Calligraphy, and you will find a very solid introduction to italic calligraphy. And if you want to learn more about what is a slant or a slope, you will also find this on my playlist. Excellent. Now, today we are going to write a short quote, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to place a blank paper on top. The paper I'm using in here currently is Canson XL 70 GSM. And again, you will find all this info in a free PDF file you can download if you follow the link on the description of this video. Okay, I'm going to attach the two papers together. And you see that I made these red marks, and the red marks are basically what it corresponds to the X height. Let's attach everything so it doesn't move. Okay, cool. So you can still see the lines through, and this is the vision I have when I'm doing my own writing as well. So when I finish, everything is clean, but while I'm writing, I have this grid underneath that is helping me a lot to know what things are happening where. Okay, the quote for today is, "We see what we believe rather than what we see," by Alan Watts. You will find this quote and the author again on the description, and you can learn more about the author. Okay, so I'm gonna start this quote with a capital W, and I'm going to, my target writing the quote is, I want to keep a rhythm. I don't want to interrupt the rhythm by analyzing or commenting a lot about what I'm doing. So I want to get into the flow and try to be very present on the page. And once I finish, I will move into the analyzing section or analyzing chapter where I look at what I've done and see if I can improve things, change things for the next time. Something else I also use is a paper folded in half, and I place it right underneath my hand so that the final paper is protected from the natural oils of my skin. Okay. So I'm gonna start with a capital W. Now, first lowercase. Let me go just a touch brighter. Okay. We see. Let me move. Okay. We see. We see what we believe. Let's move it slightly. I'm gonna add a comma. Okay. We see what we believe, and grammatically is a good moment to break the sentence. So I'm gonna stop on the first line and move to the second line here, and you can see a few of the first words. Rather, Mhm. Second R. Rather than. What we see. Another W. What we. Full stop. Okay, let's have a look and talk about the result and talk about things we can do differently for the next time. All right. So the first thing that maybe I didn't mention on this video is that this is the first time I'm writing this quote. I haven't written this quote before, so it's the first time I'm encountering every combination of letters for the first time. So the first thing to notice is that I have a lot of W's, which maybe it's not something that it happens super often, but in this quote it does. So that's the first thing to notice. Second is that I took the decision of creating schematic ascenders. So the ascenders don't have an entry stroke like the entry stroke of letter I, or don't have a flourish at the top or a swoosh. They are just very, very schematic ascenders, and it's not right or wrong. This is just the decision I took to make it easier. So that's the second thing. Second of all, then we have a lot of E's, which are very beautiful when they are done right. And then we actually don't have any descenders on the first line, any descenders on the second line. This is important for design purposes because up to now I have just been taking care of the writing, the letters, the space between pairs of letters, and the space between words. But now, if I have to come up with a piece of design, there is more elements to take in consideration, such as what type of layout do I want? Do I want it to align left, align center, align right? Is this the size that I want for my writing? Because depending of what I'm intending to do, such as a really small greeting card, this size is not going to be suitable because it's way too big. And so it all depends of many aspects, which mostly needs to answer what is the final outcome I'm looking for. And then based on that, we worked backwards into working out what type of layout, of design, of size between lines, and so forth. Okay, other things is that you would have noticed I started my ace from the right top right corner to make the letter form all continuous in one go, all of them. I'm quite happy with the spacing. I was very, very careful here with the R because the R is one letter that is quite open, almost completely open. So if I am not very careful with the amount of branching I'm going to the right, I might produce a space that is way too wide in here. And I'm looking for a space that is quite optically equal between the pairs of letter forms. In this case, I don't have to be so careful because the R is the last letter of my word. So I know that after that I have a space, so I can be a bit more free. But in here, I'm quite contained on how much I'm branching to the right for spacing purposes. I'm quite happy with the flow, the spacing, the width between my letter forms, because that's what I'm intending to do. And here was hard because the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 letter forms, I'm still figuring out the rhythm until I didn't come up with letter H, which is sort of like an evolution of an N, basically is a tall N. And we know that the N is one of the control characters. So once I arrive here, I already have a visual clue, very, very important visual clue of the width, the counterform of the alphabet, of the DNA of this alphabet, to then continue to apply the same. The angle of my pen is very regular, and you can see it by the same marks at the end of each letter form, creating a really good rhythm because it's the same angle for the writing. Okay, so that is it. Let me know if this is helpful, and let me know if you would like to see more quotes written with italic calligraphy. So thank you very, very much for watching.